Why a Honda City VTEC?
That's the VTEC?
Yes. So clear, no?
Yeah, now it's actually super clear, the VTEC again.
How's the ride?
This is not good actually, this is epic.
Hello everyone, welcome to another walk around video. Today we have the real deal, the Honda City VTEC. We last time showcased a resto-modded Honda City 1.5 EXI semi-restored car, but here we have a VTEC in its complete element, with all the bells and whistles in terms of the resto-modding aspects, with the engine, with the chassis, with the suspension, with the brakes, with the stance of the car, the body, and the whole bunch. This here is a 2002 Honda City VTEC. Started life just as any other VTEC normally. After about 140,000 kilometers, the owner decided to give it a new lease of life. Here we have a car which is completely stripped down to the bone. This car as a base car was quite, in my opinion, for a 20-year-old car, it was quite decent. It didn't have a whole lot of rust. It maybe had about 15-20% of rust, and which was fairly straightforward to fix. The whole approach with this car, the amount of time that we put into to bring this car to this shape was quite straightforward. This car was entirely completed in a span of under 2 months, despite having a racing schedule, etc. As you can see, we've given this car a completely different tone. You guys might have seen a lot of pictures of black Hondas from us with red color engine bay, a lot of red details. So in this we gave it a twist. We've given it a very different color shade, unique shade of blue, metallic blue, which in my opinion looks extremely nice, and the contrast with black is very, very nice. So likewise the colors have been added on the caliper, the strut bar, and pretty much all the cool places. This engine has been rebuilt. Like I said, it's run 140,000 kilometers, so we rebuilt it. It runs on a standard ECU. It has a bespoke intake exhaust system, also has a closed ratio final drive. It has a cylinder head upgrade, and it has all the bits and pieces which have been replaced, the OEM bits, and a fully adjustable custom coilover suspension. It has racing pads, it has rotors, the steel braided lines, like I said, is the brake upgrade. On the outside it has a chassis which is completely brought back to its former glory. From being white, it's now changed to midnight black. So it's again a unique black which we customize. It has a tinge of blue and the pearl silver in it. The car is now shod on 16-inch Lenzo wheels, which are aftermarket ones. It's quite straightforward, the whole thing on the car. The interior is pretty much stock, nothing much done on the inside. The steering to everything is standard. We've added vents on the bonnet to relieve some bit of engine bay heat. This motor, when we dyno tested yesterday, makes 117 at the wheel, which is a little over 130 at the crank. Quite good considering it still is like a stockish car. It would still have the bulletproof Honda reliability of a stock car. Now the car is all ready to go. We are always asked one question: why a Honda City VTEC and why not the 1.5 and the 1.3 EXI? It's just not the valve cover that screams Honda VTEC that makes it different to a regular Honda City. What makes it unique is the stuff underneath. What we have here is high lift cam, which operates after a certain point, to be specific at 5,100 RPM in a stock car. There is a VTEC solenoid which basically triggers the oil pressure to open a bunch of followers which basically open the cam profile. Basically the engine works like it's got the top end performance of a race car, where the engine gets really strong after 5,200 RPM and all the way very, very strong to its 7,100 RPM red line. Cylinder head is completely different to a regular 1.5 EXI. It's got a completely different port geometry. It's got a very different cam timing. Overall intake, lift and duration is way different compared to the regular Honda City. Also has higher compression ratio, different distributor, completely different wiring harness, completely different ECU with all different parameters. So if you look at the cluster of a Honda City VTEC, it's quite different to the regular ones. You can see the red line is at 7,100. This engine makes peak horsepower at close to 7,000 RPM, what we've seen on a dyno. With the kind of super stock cars that we build, where we are allowed to add an intake, an exhaust, and then an ECU, small things to blueprint the engine and get a little bit more. We have seen the same engine make peak horsepower at around 7,300 to 7,400 RPM. The engine is so potent, it's probably one of the most potent engines in stock form, where it can make power peak past 7,000 RPM, can comfortably rev very, very close to 8,000 RPM with stock internals. We usually take these things up to 7,700 to 7,800 RPM with race reliable performance. Reliability of the engine is very, very strong. Keeping the engine at full tilt at 7,700 to 7,800 RPM, they can just go round and round a racetrack, and then there are small touches, like you can see silver detail on the center console and on the door button panel, and and then there is also this headrest whereas the normal one comes with a flat headrest. And of course the steering wheel had a leather wrap on it, but now on this car it's gone with age. Here you have the mighty spoiler, which everybody loves, the VTEC badge here, and then the chrome number plate holder, quite unique. And you identify a VTEC with the signature spoiler and the wheels and the chrome number plate holder. The unique bits about a Honda City VTEC, I mean, you of course see a lot of cars which have these parts bolted on and they make their cars look like a VTEC. The real deal is the engine, and I guess that's what makes this car extremely special. So the car has a very, very unique character compared to what the 1.5 EXI is on paper. Although the horsepower is only up by 6 horses, the EXI is at 100 bhp, 1.5 VTEC is at 106 bhp. It's a completely different animal when you put the foot down. The way the torque kicks in at top, and then the 0 to 100 is almost a second and a half quicker with the VTEC. The gearing of the 1.5 EXI and a VTEC is identical. They both run a 4.05 final drive, and the gear ratios are as well identical. But what sets the acceleration and the top speed difference is completely just the engine, which makes it super radical. Car kind of gives you a dual performance feel, very, very good low and top, make it a very, very nice city runabout car, and at the same time you keep the throttle pinned, and after 5,000 RPM you have the power bursting up, and it's explosive. So please understand that a Honda City VTEC is quite different to a 1.5 EXI and a 1.3. Despite being a 20-year-old car, why do you think we really love this car still? Well, it's a lot. This car probably has one of the best driving experience, gives you very, very straightforward feel. The way the car is built, when you sit inside, when you drive it, it feels like everything is wrapped around you. The driving posture, dynamics, the view from the dashboard, and the responsiveness of the engine, the chassis. Of course the stock car is quite soft, but then with our bits added to it, becomes extremely desirable car to drive and own. Now even in today's world, 20 years later, still stands out to be great in terms of looks. It has typical classic lines, and it has the unique late 90s, early 2000s design on it. So loudly speaks Honda and JDM. And the car has such cool bits that the country never had something like this in the past. And after this, there's actually never been a cooler car than this. Real touches that Honda gave, cosmetic detail, the engine detail, performance detail. Today you see cars having badges, but then they don't really translate to real increase in horsepower and a whole lot of driving pleasure. This was the car that actually did that. Probably the only car to actually offer this kind of performance to the masses. Honda sold less than 4,000 cars because these were limited in numbers, and with a few thousands, maybe 1,000, 2,000 cars now surviving and in the hands of the right enthusiasts, and we ourselves racing quite a few of these, and then putting it still out there and beating modern cars. It's definitely been an uphill task to keep these cars going. But why do we really love it? It's because these things are still so efficient, they're super reliable, pocket friendly, the cost of maintenance is on the lower side. These cars are very, very capable of running up to 4 lakh kilometers. We have seen examples of Hondas which have come to us, which have crossed over 3 lakh kilometers, and when we've opened the engines, we've actually seen that they're absolutely spotless. There's not much wear on the crankshaft, there's not much wear on a whole bunch of things, which is extremely terrific. And it's sad that it's not true for the current generation of cars, by anyone. So it's a very, very unique piece, and I think the fact that we have the opportunity to build cars like this, give something back to the community, and give enthusiasts a real chance of having a real driving experience with the right kind of cars built by us and with the right bit of performance that can give it, plaster a smile on your face. I think we are really extremely grateful to Honda for having given this car to us. We at Race Concepts completely love what we do, and I think that's what we stand for.